Welcome, my friends, to the Horror Syndicate's Werewolf Wednesday show. The goal of this show is to shine a light on and talk about every single werewolf film in existence. Um, be talking about some really great films, some okay at best films, and some pretty crappy films. The idea is to bring to light a bunch of titles that never get talked about, particularly in the subgenre of werewolves, which I'm a very passionate fan of. And for you guys, the viewers, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, to take this journey with me, maybe to watch the films for the first time yourselves and see if we're in agreement or not. And it's okay if you don't agree with any of my opinions and I don't agree with yours, yada yada. Um, the idea is just to talk about them. So tonight I am talking about the made for HBO horror action film from 1993 called Full Eclipse. Uh, the um, the film was directed by Anthony Hickox, who directed Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. And yeah, so that is what tonight's topic is going to be. If you have seen it, feel free to comment. What do you think about this film? Do you like it? Is it okay at best for you? Or do you just not like it? Let me know. And if you have not seen the film, uh, check out the link in the description. I put the link in so you can watch the film for free on YouTube. It's currently on YouTube anyway, the full film is. I also included the link for Amazon if you wanted to buy a copy of the DVD. I actually just recently got the DVD. Um, so yeah. And then, as I have been doing, I will get to comments after I go over my initial thoughts of the film. In the meantime, before I begin, uh, if you are watching on YouTube, uh, if you would like, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Uh, if not, that's fine. Um, yeah, so if you support Werewolf Wednesday, if you like werewolves, if you like this show, if you're just looking for new werewolf uh, films and some titles that you've never heard of, hit the subscribe and hit the thumbs up. That's all I'll say about that. Yeah, so gonna get into Full Eclipse here. Just let me find what I'm looking for. So, what is Full Eclipse about? So, Mario Van Peebles plays a LAPD detective named Max Dyer, who is essentially married to the job in typical 90s action movie fashion. Uh, his life as a detective um, has put a strain on his relationship with his, I believe, wife or girlfriend, whatever. And because of this, she eventually leaves him for a little bit. And um, as this happens, his partner is shot in the line of duty. Now, while his partner is recovering in the hospital, someone dressed in a police uniform walks in. You don't see his face, and injects Max's partner with a serum. And soon after, his partner makes a miraculous recovery. However, as the days go on, his partner is not okay with the changes that he's been going through. He makes a silver bullet and shoots himself in front of Max in a bar full of cops. And after that, Max is recruited essentially by a man named Adam Guru, played by Bruce Payne, uh, who is like a psychologist of sorts for the uh, police force. And he tells them about a gathering of a select few cops and to come in to talk to all of them. And when he gets there, he finds that this is actually uh, they're more of a they're more of a group who uh, take justice into their own hands, and they do this with a serum that Adam Guru makes that gives them like abilities of werewolves. Um, and so Max uh, eventually gets this serum. He takes it and he begins to become one himself. I keep forgetting I was gonna like go through images as I was talking about it. So there's Max, played by Mario Van Peebles, good cat, um, and yeah, he gets recruited and becomes part of this group led by Bruce Payne, and yeah, they go out there and they savagely kill criminals and the like. Um, so that is the basic story of it without going too full into spoilers. There is something I will talk about when I get to the werewolf design that goes into spoilers, just to let people know. Um, so let's talk about this movie. Um, some of the pros. So I think overall, this is it's kind of a fun movie. It's um, I think it's decently directed, and I think it's got a kind of a fun concept to it with this idea of this group of cops who um, essentially become kind of werewolves. I'll get into that a little bit. And dispatch their own brand of justice. I kind of like that story. Now there is a uh, very superhero type um, thing with it. Um, they all wear matching uniforms. This image here doesn't show, but early on in the movie, when they first kind of show Max what's going on, their uniforms kind of remind me of like superheroes, especially from the '90s, like X-Men type, partially covering their faces and kind of like wearing helmets. And obviously, there is a very Wolverine um, type thing going on too, with all the characters uh, getting these claws, these long claws that come out of their knuckles. Um, so there's an image there of Mario Van Peebles and Patsy Kensit. Um, yeah, and this is from when it first begins to happen. Very X Men like in a lot of ways, with this group and with the werewolf aspect of it. Some other pros. I liked Mario Van Peebles as the lead in this. He- yeah, I thought he was a fine lead. And I really liked Bruce Payne as Adam Guru, who, spoiler alert, turns out to be the villain of the story. Um, without going too much into detail of some of the revelations in the film, um, but and I think the score is okay. It's very I don't know. It sounds like a product of the time. It sounds like an early '90s score for a TV movie. Um, and let's see here. Again, I think the direction isn't bad at all. I think there's some cool shots. Some of the action sequences, especially the shootout stuff that happens early on in the film, uh, very reminiscent of '90s action films, but like in a good way. Um, so those are some of the pros I have about it. Talking about some of the cons, it comes down to werewolf design for me. So I don't really have a good image here to show, but so for the most of the film, the characters when they take the serum and they are quote unquote werewolves, they have this type of look to them. So this is what I consider to be like the lazy design. I hate this. I hated this when they did this in Supernatural, where it's just like you give the characters sharp teeth, their ears grow long and pointy, and there's um, uh, some adjustment in the face to make them more animal like, and then you give them long claws, stuff like that, and I just hate that type of design for werewolves. I want to see actual werewolves. This is like below even like like I don't mind stuff like the Wolfman or what the hell did I cover last week? I can't even remember. But I just it, if it if they had the more traditional Wolfman look, I probably would be okay with it. But this is that lazy approach that I don't like. There is a werewolf in the film. Uh, in the end, uh, so spoiler alert: Adam Guru turns out to be an actual werewolf the whole time, and he is the only one who transforms. So this scene when he first transforms, it looks awful. The transformation is CGI, and this still image right here just does nothing for the werewolf. Now, soon after that, it does start to look a little bit better. Uh, we get this whole scene with uh, the werewolf and Max on top of a crate, and they're fighting there, and there's a lot of close-ups of the werewolf, and I think this looks pretty good. He looks like a good boy. Um, uh, but other than that, like, uh, so we don't really get a full werewolf until the end. Uh, all the film is essentially these very superhero X-Men looking types with yeah, mostly in human form. Um, it's not really my thing. So uh, th- that is my biggest con is the werewolf designs, and other than that, the the action I think is pretty good. We don't get a whole lot of great werewolf action, not even when they're in their more humanoid wolf form. Um, the final fight is fairly decent. So I do dig that. So going over my 10 categories, I have 10 categories where I rate from a scale of 1 through 10. I add up the scores for all 10 categories to come up with a final score. It may be an imperfect system based on the categories I have. Some of them are your traditional stuff like acting, directing, writing, cinematography, music, production design, and effects. But other categories include werewolf design, werewolf action, and entertainment. A lot of the scores were pretty across the board, and I'm only going to go over them briefly. So acting, I gave a 7, mainly because of Mario Van Peebles and Bruce Payne. Um, Patsy Kenza is pretty good too. Um, she'll always be Rika from Lethal Weapon 2, one of my favorite action films of all time. Um, and everyone else, I don't think anyone's really awful in the film. I think they're all fine. Um, Directing, I give a 6. I was kind of toying around with a 7, possibly. I think there's some there's I think it's fairly well directed. Same director as Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. I think uh, uh, certainly a capable director. Um, Writing, I give a 6. I think the concept is cool. Some of the dialogue wasn't great, but yeah, I think the based on the concept alone, I wish for a little bit more um, lore with the werewolves. I do kind of like how the title comes into play in the third act, um, with a full eclipse, essentially making it so the werewolf um, is practically invulnerable during the entire time of a full eclipse, full lunar eclipse. Cinematography 7. Again, I think there were some good shots in here. I think it it looks I think it looks pretty good for a TV movie. Um, the music, the score, I give like a 5. Is kind of there. It's unremarkable. It feels standard to the early '90s for such a TV movie. Um, yeah. Production design 6. Effects, I give a 6 as well because I think the effects are um, they're decent. I mean, the effects works on the characters and their faces when they are the humanoid wolves, and the claws, not bad. The CGI transformation looked terrible, and the initial reveal of the werewolf didn't look so great, but soon after that, uh, uh, they look pretty good to me, which leans into werewolf design. I give it a 4. Um, I was gonna go lower, but uh, I give it a 4 because I'm not a fan of the the look of the werewolves. Uh, that more human look. Not really a fan of that. I did raise the score just slightly because of the werewolf that shows up in the for the final fight. So at least I had that. Werewolf action, I gave a 6, and I'm mainly give it a 6, just kind of combining not just the werewolf stuff, but just the action in general. I think the action is pretty good. The shootout stuff is good early on. Uh, I wanted to see more of what this group of cops turned werewolves uh, do when they are in that form, taking out bad guys in the city. Um, and but the final fight, on top of the final the whole final sequence with with Bruce Payne turning into an actual werewolf. I think there's some good stuff there. Maybe I'm too generous with this one, but entertainment wise, I'm giving it an 8. Uh, I think uh, I think it's a fun 93 minute. I think it's 93 minutes, or it's 93 or 97 minutes. I think it's fun. It's well paced. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the concept behind it. And yeah, so my final score, 61 out of 100. As I've said for the last couple weeks, I probably, uh, you know, this score here doesn't really reflect so much how I personally view the film. I think it's because it is fun. I probably go higher. I'd probably say 70 is what I would have said off the top of my head without all my categories. That's, again, that's probably, uh, through some sort of flaw with my system that I have. So, um, my final thoughts. Well, it's not kind of final. I'm gonna keep going. I'll read some comments in a minute. Uh, I think Full Eclipse is a fun, forgotten, made for TV werewolf film that I think has a cool concept, and I think is worth a watch. It's not in my, it's definitely not my top 20 werewolf films. I don't actually remember where I actually have it on my list, but I think it's fun. It's a fun B movie. I would put this in the same category as like Skinwalkers personally. Um, yeah, because I have certain issues with that as well. But yeah, Full Eclipse, I enjoy it. If you haven't seen it, if you want to see it, check out the description. I did put a link to where you could watch it for free on YouTube. And if it's a film that you like and you want to own, I did also include a link to Amazon uh, where you could order the DVD. So I'm going to go through comments now. Thanks for bearing with me as I stumble through. Sean Sheridan, Irish Sean, as we call him, says, I'll be honest, last few movies for this one have been bad. I don't get through some of them. The Yeti movie wasn't great, but I found some fun with. Yes, I know what you mean. Like, I mean, I personally like Skinwalkers, and I think Scream of the Wolf had things that I liked in it, even though it's not a great movie. I could see why people didn't like that one. More from the Yeti is fun, but yeah, I mean the whole thing with this show is I'm going to be talking about even the bad ones. So uh, bear with me and take this journey and you know just it's just another notch on your belt, Sean. You could say, hey, I've seen this many werewolf films. Huh? He also says this was a big improvement. I really liked this movie. The concept of performance drugs, cops, and mad scientists and werewolves is a weird mix, but it works very well here. Ah, cool. Glad that you enjoyed it. Now, is this your first time seeing it? Let me know if this is your first time watching this film. The main lead, Mario Van Peebles, is excellent. The main villain, forgot his name, Bruce Payne. Uh, he was good. Some minor problems with some production value. Isn't great, but it's a TV movie, and some of the acting is. He continued on. Not overly strong, but mainly from the side characters, which is to be expected in movie. Sometimes that aside, this was great. 4 out of 5. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Um, yeah, so I mean, I agree. Well, I think as far as like production value, I think it looked decent for a TV movie, especially a '90s TV movie. Um, this was the best movie we covered so far. We have not covered American Wolf in London, so that doesn't count. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, so far I've liked all of these that I've talked about so far. A lot of them do have flaws. Again, Scream of the Wolf has flaws. Skinwalkers has flaws. Werewolf and the Yeti has flaws, clearly. Big Bad Wolf has flaws, but I love that film. Um, I love Dog Soldiers. I know I talked about that one. Howl, the one on the train, that was really good. But I'm glad that you liked it. This is a movie uh, that would, well, with a remake again. I really liked it from a technical aspect. It was restricted by the budget, but I think the budget, yeah, this is definitely a movie that could benefit from a remake where you could improve upon certain stuff. Just don't give it to Blumhouse. The swimming pool and Evil Dies Tonight. Enough said. That's true. Yeah, I mean Blumhouse. They fumbled with the Wolfman film, so yeah, I wouldn't want them to do any more werewolf stuff. Um, American Sean says, "What's up, Seth? Hope you're well. Thank you. How you doing? I'm doing pretty well." Irish Sean says, "I think for the first time, I like a werewolf movie more than you." It kicks Skinwalker's ass. I mean, I think they're pretty close. For me, they're pretty close. Like I enjoy Skinwalkers as much as I enjoy Full Eclipse. And I think both are flawed. It's fine to have it's fine to have a preference one over the other. I'm not sure which one I would pick. I'd have to really think about it because there's things like, I mean, I've seen Skinwalkers a lot more. I saw Skinwalkers when it first came out, so I have all those years of seeing it. Whereas this one, Full Eclipse, I actually just saw this in 2024 um, for the first time, and so perhaps on a few more rewatches, maybe it'll jump up. Um, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, I really do like this film. Yeah, like I'm not saying that I don't like it. Yeah, for sure. He says, yes, I never heard of it until 2 days ago. See, that's what I love about this. So, is that, uh, you know, doing this show, I'm talking about a werewolf movie that no one really talks about, no one brings up. And by covering it, getting you and perhaps others to watch it, and then it's something that you enjoy. I think that's great. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that that you liked it and that this was the first time watch and that you watched it because of Werewolf Wednesday. Hopefully, as this show goes on and we cover more and more and more titles, we find other things that you've never heard of or you've never seen or whatever. And yeah, I rewatched Dog Soldiers. It did improve a bit. Not one of my favorites, but it's good. Yeah, it seems to be like a hit or miss with people. Like there's people who love Dog Soldiers, people like me who love Dog Soldiers, and then there's people who think it's okay at best. But fair enough, you gave it another rewatch. American Sean says I enjoy anything Mario Van Peebles is in, and Patsy Kensit is gorgeous. So I'll have to check this one out. Oh yes, definitely check this one out if you have not seen it. It's funny. The first thing I've seen Mario Van Peebles in was Highlander: The Final Dimension, the third Highlander film, and then I saw him in a few other things other than that. But yeah, he's he's good in this, and yeah, Patsy Kensit, Rika from Lethal Weapon 2. But yeah, definitely check this one out. Again, I don't know how long you've been tuning into tonight, but I put the link in the description for people to watch it on YouTube for free. I also put in the link for Amazon where you can buy the DVD. So yeah, and I still like Wolfman 2025. I liked for what it was. Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. Um, Yeah, I mean that's going to be a movie where I'm going to have to give it another rewatch. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Terry Scott, I tried to watch it last night and fell asleep. Did you? How far did you get? Did you fall asleep because you're bored, or did you just fall asleep because you're tired? Maybe maybe get another try if you can. Yeah. So okay, one more coming here. Unfortunately, I had to see him in Jaws: The Revenge. Oh my god, I forgot he was in that. Okay, so Jaws: The Revenge. I saw that before I saw Highlander: The Final Dimension. That's right, I forgot about that. I try to forget about Jaws: The Revenge. I try to forget about Jaws 3 and Jaws: The Revenge. Like those movies don't exist in my head. When his partner was, oh wow, so you fell asleep pretty early on. Um, again, was it out of boredom, or were you just like tired and just fell asleep? Um, yeah, just let me know if you want to let me know. Yeah, so Full Eclipse, fun B movie, very comic book like, uh, with cops who take a serum to become werewolf like, uh, figures who take on criminals in LA, in the streets of LA. Not a fan of the look of the werewolves in their more humanoid form. Um, However, I do think the actual werewolf that shows up later on is decent looking. Um, we all try to forget parts 3 and 4. Yeah, I. It's funny because especially part 4 it didn't bother me when I was a kid so much. But then a couple years ago, I bought uh, I got this uh, Blu-ray set with 2, 3, and 4, and I think we were covering them on one of the shows that we were doing for the Horror Syndicate Discourse. And yeah, I just forgot how bad 4 was. I mean, the whole concept of the shark following. Um, yeah, it's a terrible fucking film. Uh, so yeah, what do you? What was I going to say? Shit. Okay, so American Sean, definitely give um, Full Eclipse a watch and let me know what you think. Uh, Terry, if you get a chance, finish the film. If not, fair enough. Um, I am just curious if it was maybe too slow paced for you because it does take a little bit to get going. I mean, there's some, I think, decent action in between, but it does take a little bit. And then when they do get to the werewolf forms, it does kind of move by pretty fast. So so far, there's no more comments. I'll stay on for just another few minutes, and then I'm going to leave and probably watch Halloween Kills. I rewatched Halloween 2018 the other night, just randomly. I don't know why I chose that over John Carpenter's, but I put that in, and so I'm gonna rewatch Kills, and then uh, probably this weekend I'll give Halloween Ends another shot, but we'll see how that goes. Last time I tried to marathon all 3, I just watched 2018 and Kills, and then I just stopped. So yeah, but Yeah, once again, if you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit subscribe if you have not, if you want to, and hit the thumbs up button. Uh, it'll let us know that you like werewolves, and that you're liking friendly. Um, if you're not liking friendly, then I suppose that's okay. But yeah, if you like werewolves, hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, and that will also go for Facebook as well. If you're watching this, if you have watched any of these Werewolf Wednesday shows that I've been doing, uh, hit the thumbs up, uh, or hit the laugh emoji, the heart emoji, care emoji, angry emoji, comment, and just to let us know that you are interested in werewolves and Werewolf Wednesday. I know I'm not the greatest speaker. I say a lot, and all that. However, I want to again bring attention to a subgenre that I feel is greatly overshadowed by vampires, zombies, slashers, ghosts, demons, and all that happy horseshit. Um, and talk about films and get you to join me in discussing these films. And maybe if we're lucky enough, uh, just like what happened with Irish Sean, he found a film that he enjoyed because of this. So, yeah. So I have to ask, while I like it, how did I mean, okay, so how did Elm Street 4 end up number one for 88? It's very simple. Uh, so there was three of us that put in our list like top 20 or whatever films of 88, and Ray does this. I don't know. He does his magic. Peter says you're a dead fuck. Uh, he does his magic, and he comes up with a ranking based on how uh, you know how titles come across each list, like so, uh, and all that, and where exactly we place them on our individual list. With Elm Street 4, uh, Nate, Ray, and myself are actually all big fans of that film. Uh, so that's how it became number one, because we all had it at number one on our individual lists, because we all three of us are huge fans of Elm Street 4. And I love other films of that year too, Hellraiser 2, so on and so forth. But Elm Street 4 is a very special movie to me. It's a very special movie to Ray, and it's a very special movie to Nate as well. So that's how it is. I'd imagine uh, not a lot of people agree with that. I'm certain you probably don't, but that's how it is. Sean Sheridan, Irish Sean says, "Look, Ends is a bad movie, but at least the dialogue doesn't make me want to take depression pills. No joke, worst dialogue ever." Yeah. Um, as much as I like this show, vampires are my favorite creatures of horror, so that probably won't change it. But I enjoy this discussions of finding some small scale movies. Yeah, no, I mean I get that. I'm not trying to say with the show I'm gonna make werewolves more popular than vampires and zombies and ghosts and demons and slashers. I know that there's a reason why people prefer those films, but I feel like werewolf films are, because they're so overshadowed by the other subgenres of horror. Um, a lot of them get overlooked, some for good reason. There's not a lot of like wonderful werewolf films out there, but there's a lot of, I think, halfway decent ones. And uh, you know, as long as you can find again, like you mentioned earlier, you saw full eclipse for the first time because of this, and you actually enjoyed it. So maybe we can get that more of that. Um, that's my goal anyway. Um, don't forget about my idea of werewolves and other films like Monster Squad and Waxwork. Yes, I will be. I will be covering them. I actually have to. I don't have to right away, but I will at some point soon uh, work on a uh, continuation of the topic schedule where I go from January 2026 um, to the end of 2026. So uh, Monster Squad will definitely be early on. Um, I'm going to be covering a lot of titles individually. I may do some episodes like that where I talk like some stuff in bulk. But yeah, your ideas are not forgotten, my friend. Yeah. So anyway, um, what does Sean say here? I prefer werewolves to zombies, mainly the classic, the Romero stuff, the slow moving zombies I have never liked. The fast paced, vicious ones from the Undead remake are my thing. Fair enough. I love zombies, but there was a period of time within the last 14, 15 years where there was just so many, it just became oversaturated. And I don't know. I just kind of like fell out of love. Uh, I'll always love the George Romero stuff for sure. I like the slow moving zombies. The fast ones are good too. They're the you're fucked kind. um, yeah, we are going to watch every werewolf movie, aren't we? What's next week? So next week is Wolf Cop. I know last week I mistakenly said Wolf Cop was this week, and then I looked at the schedule, realized that I'm a moron. But yes, next week is Wolf Cop, and the week after that is another Wolf Cop. So those are that's the topics for the next 2 weeks. Have you seen Wolf Cop and another Wolf Cop? Let me know. If it's gonna be a first time view for you, I'm excited to read your comments next week. Uh, American Sean says werewolves are freaking awesome. They are. They are. I love them. Um, it's it's a shame there's not a lot of great werewolf films because I think they're a cool creature, um, and they're. I mean, really, I think they're more terrifying than a zombie, more terrifying than vampire, based on their savage nature, or at least they should be. Some movies, not so much. Uh, I watched Wolf Cop because I thought it was this week. Wasn't a fan. Too goofy. Not watching the second one. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, if you didn't like the first Wolf Cop, you are not gonna like the second one. So yes, it is a little goofy, and you know, I have a thing where I'm not so big on the horror comedy, particularly with werewolves, but Wolf Cop for some reason kind of gets a pass from me. So it's a film I enjoy. Um, Save your thoughts on it for next week. You don't have to rewatch it again, but I definitely want to hear more of your in-depth thoughts on Wolf Cop. So next week, I'm expecting uh, quite a bit from you, Arishan. The zombie culture became oversaturated. You're not wrong. Yeah, it did too. And like, I don't want to be like one of those people, but like, it was weird for a while. Where like, I loved The Walking Dead when it first came on. Um, I saw before I even knew was a comic book, and the reason why I wanted to watch it was because it was from Frank Darabont, and I loved it. Read the comics, and of course, I've always been a huge fan of George Romero. The George Romero um, Dead saga, as I call it, in particular, the first four are films that I just absolutely love. I love Night of the Living Dead. It's my second favorite horror film of all time. Love Dawn of the Dead. I love Day of the Dead. And I'm a huge apologist for Land of the Dead. And there's so many other zombie films I've seen, and then there's the sort of like the infected type with 28 Days Later, uh, the Dawn of the Dead remake, stuff like that. But then you know, Walking Dead I thought was awesome, and then it just kind of became more and more popular, and everyone was talking about it, and it's just I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people, but it was just weird that it just became so mainstream, and then eventually the show for me kind of fell apart. I stopped watching in like season 8. I think I stopped during season 8. It was 7 or 8. I do want to finish it. And to be fair, I haven't even finished all the comics. There was a certain point where like I loved the Walking Dead comics. I was like obsessed with Walking Dead for so long, and then there just got to be a point in the comics where things started feeling redundant to me, and I just wasn't. They weren't pulling me in like they used to. Um, I mean, granted, the comics peaked with the prison storyline. There was some good stuff that happened after that, but like the whole prison storyline with the governor was really really awesome in the comics. And then the show version I thought was okay. It definitely did not capture the feeling of the comics in that regard, but yeah, I give it a chance. I was fair. Exactly. All you can do is just give it a chance. And if you don't like it, if you can't finish something, then turn it off. I mean, I can't tell you. There's actually quite a few werewolf films in my collection that I have started, and they were just so terrible I couldn't finish them. And there's other films that are awful, and I did finish them, but um, like it killed my soul. But yeah, even mediocre werewolf films are watchable to a certain extent. I mean, I've seen some shit, and we are going to cover some shit, and I'm probably going to force myself to rewatch some terrible werewolf films. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of werewolf films that are heavily flawed. Not perfect movies. There's a flaw within the writing, or a flaw within the acting, the flaw within production design, or even werewolf design. But they're overall not awful. There's some fun. There's some good stuff. You know what I mean? Uh, Irish Sean says it's not trash. It's kind of like Texas Chainsaw 2 horror comedy. Not for me. I think you mean American Sean. I saw Wolf Cop. Gave my brief thoughts. Oh, I thought you were the one that said. I don't know. I thought you said that you. Okay, maybe I got my Sean's mixed up. I wrote 4 indie novels. My second one was about zombies and was homage to Romero. Oh, that's awesome. Think you did you mention this before that you wrote independent novels? Um, do you have them self-published, or are they just something that you just keep to yourself? Let me know. Um, all right. Well, I have come to the end of all the comments, and I am coming to the end of this episode. So to recap, uh, Full Eclipse, 1993, made for HBO, action horror film from the director of Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and starring Mario Van Peebles, Patsy Kensit, and Bruce Payne. Uh, I think it's a fun B movie with an interesting premise, uh, very superhero like in the fact that it is a bunch of cops who wear similar uniforms, who inject themselves with a serum that gives them werewolf like abilities, and they take out criminals in LA. Definitely very X-Men ish, with not only the matching uniforms, at least as far as like, you know, um, some some aspects of X-Men. Um, yeah, the history of comics, the X-Men had matching uniforms when they first started. Then the characters had individual, blah blah blah, whatever. Anyway, and very Wolverine-like with the claws coming out of the knuckles. Not a fan of this type of werewolf, but I think overall it's a fast-paced, fun uh, 90s action film. Um, and I recommend it if you like werewolves and uh, you're just looking for a decent one to watch. So, uh, again, I put the link in the description for uh, Full Eclipse uh, uh, to be watched on YouTube, the full film. Uh, Also, the Amazon where you can order the DVD if you enjoy it, if you have seen it before, or if you just want to blind buy it. Um, and Yeah, don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like werewolves, if you're liking friendly, and if you want to keep going with the Werewolf Wednesday. Um, I like doing these. I love werewolves. I love werewolf movies. I've seen a lot of werewolf movies. I have not seen all. Um, and I kind of like uh, talking about them. And so, thank you to everyone who watched. Oh, by the way, I might have self-published on my Amazon. Oh, that's awesome. Can you share the link? Or share a link to one of yours, um, so that people can check it out. Um, yeah. So anyway, that was Full Eclipse. I'm Seth. This has been Werewolf Wednesday. Next week, I will be talking about Wolf Cop for real. Um, and then the week after that, another Wolf Cop. Anyway, have a good night.